I'm Denise, the Lady of Diligence, reporting for Divinity News. Happening in El Paso, Texas, Barry W. Lynn, Executive Director of Americans United for Separation of Church and State, has reported St. Raphael, a Roman Catholic church, to the IRS after the church allegedly ran a notice in its bulletin that encouraged parishioners not to vote for President Barack Obama in the upcoming presidential election. Now, Messenger Francis J. Smith, the pastor, does not deny having published the notice, which read, "I'm asking all of you to go to the polls and be united in replacing our president with a president that will respect the Catholic Church in this country. Please pass this on to all of your Catholic friends." Now, if you're not familiar with it, federal law prohibits nonprofit organizations from intervening in any political campaign by making public statements either for or against any candidate. Violating this law can result in the revocation of a nonprofit's tax-exempt status and other penalties should the organization be found guilty. All right, I'm moving along in New Orleans. Pastor Troy Bond of Raven Ministries and 5 members of his ministry team were arrested last Friday night for preaching on Bourbon Street after sunset. Now, the pastor and his ministry associates were taken into custody as they were sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ after 10 p.m. with the many men and women who had gathered on the infamous street. Well, last October, the city of New Orleans ratified the aggressive solicitation ordinance in effort to curb solicitation of donations in the French Quarter, but also place limitations on political and religious speech. Now, Pastor Bond plans on returning back to Bourbon Street to preach the gospel, ordinance or not. All right, and taking a look at international news, with the protests outside the U.S. Embassy in Cairo over a film on the Prophet Muhammad, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton warned Egypt and other Arab Spring nations against attacking diplomatic missions. Now, if you haven't heard, there was this film released called The Innocence of Muslims, produced in California, that actually portrays the Prophet Muhammad as a womanizer, child molester, and ruthless killer. And protesters in Cairo believe that the U.S. ambassador should be expelled to punish the United States. And this wraps it up for this week's edition of Divinity News.